Hey folks, this is Kevin Allison of the Risk Podcast. This video is a 5-minute how-to for anyone who might be interested in pitching us a story at risk. Pitching us is really as easy as emailing us at pitches@risk-show.com. A written summary of your story, about 250 words, but there's a few things you might want to know first. People from all walks of life have shared true and very uncensored stories on risk since 2009. Some have been well-known performers and writers. Others have never set foot on a stage or had anything published. All that matters is that the storyteller is being very honest and not shying away from revealing the most emotional or loaded aspects of their experience. Now keep in mind that Risk is an audio podcast that gets over 1 million downloads per month, so if we do choose to put your story on the podcast, it will get heard. Also, some of the stories that are shared at our live shows or recorded one-on-one for radio-style production do not make it onto the podcast for a variety of reasons. Remember, you can go by a fake name if you so choose, and you should at least consider changing the names of people or places and things in your story that might identify others. What kind of stories do we look for on Risk? For that, I always recommend people first listen to a couple of our Best of Risk episodes. I always recommend the Best of Risk number 4 and number 8 first. We're at risk-show.com and on iTunes and anywhere else that podcasts can be found. Basically, no story is too emotional or too gory or too sexual or too controversial or too personal. Some of the stories we feature on Risk are hilarious, utterly outrageously hilarious. Others are just deeply traumatic or sad or beautiful. The whole point of Risk is that unlike the storytelling shows that you might hear on platforms like NPR, where they have to keep things family-friendly, we dare storytellers to share things that they might only have ever thought to share with a therapist before. We're not just looking for the crazy stuff that happened or the most sensational thing that ever happened to you, but we're looking for things that had real emotional resonance for you, or things that you still obsessively pick your brain about. If you mean to pitch us for a specific live show that we're doing on a specific date, like if you've heard that we're coming to Cleveland on such and such a date, check to see what the theme is for that evening. It might be something like shame or ecstatic or furious. And then send us your pitch at pitches@risk-show.com and make sure to include in the subject line what city you're from. Then brainstorm on a particular incident or a few incidents that progress. For example, if you want to tell the story of your car accident, first you might focus on the actual argument, the things that were said between you and your mother as you were rushing out the door to the car. Then you might show the actual moment of the car accident itself. Then focus on the reconciliation between you and your mother at the hospital later that afternoon. That's just one example, but the point is we're always more interested in scenes than we are in theories or explanations or essaying. We want to be there and see actual moments of people connecting or clashing with spoken dialogue and dramatic action. Even in scenes where you were alone, you probably had a dramatic argument going on inside your head. So show us those voices speaking. Now, of course, your pitch is not going to include all that detail. Your pitch is only going to be about 250 words, so don't worry about getting all that in there. We just want to make sure that you understand beforehand that your story is not going to be an essay. It's not going to be a stand-up comedy style riff on an idea. It's going to be about incidents happening. If you're not pitching us for a particular show in a particular city, here are some general themes that we're always looking for stories for. This can't be happening. A time you thought, I truly don't know if I can handle this. Turning the corner. A time you broke through something or made a huge leap of faith. Still makes me laugh. A time something just became insanely ridiculous. Power. A time you were terrified or thrilled by a shift in a power dynamic, or anything else that you think might fit our bill. So again, the email address is pitches@risk-show.com. There's even more information on the submissions page at our site, risk-show.com. Thanks for watching.